I'm Justin Boeser. I live in Minneapolis. I grew up here, but lived in Sacramento for 12 years. I've been making art pretty much ever since the first rise of Pokemon. It kind of grew out of, I think, being noticed by art teachers in school and people being encouraging to keep practicing and keep trying. And me really just being so determined to be able to draw a damn portrait. I participated in an artist residency in England at AYYO, and my host there, Claire, told me, it's great that I can draw, but like, what else can I do? And I've thought really hard about that ever since, and it's kind of how I decided to force myself into trying jack-o'-lanterns. Draw a portrait on a pumpkin, but like, what can I do with that? How can I play with that light and that value shift? And it's been kind of crazy ever since. I've only been carving pumpkins since 2021. It's an idea that I've like somewhat tossed around for maybe 12 years or so. I went to pumpkin nights up in Auburn, California a long time ago, and I was with my family, and they were like, "Oh, this is so up your alley. You should really try this." And Halloween is my jam. When I moved back to Minnesota and I saw an ad looking for pumpkin artists, I just, I thought, why not? Why not just try it? And it's kind of become my thing. I did a portrait of Amanda Gorman maybe last year, and that's one of my favorites. First of all, because of who she is and what she represents, but also because it was a speed carve. I think I spent like maybe 3 hours drawing and carving her and getting her ready to go out for the show that night. My favorite one probably technically is a Nightmare Before Christmas one I did last year. It was huge. It was easily 150 pounds. At the time, it was my longest carve. It took me about 10 hours just carving it. Couldn't even tell you how long it took me to draw it. It was a moment of technical obstacles that I overcame and learned and figured out. And it was a big problem-solved pumpkin, but it came out so good. Like, not to toot my own horn, but it came out so good. It's another one of my favorites because, of course, is my divine pumpkin. Again, for what she represents, it's a family event. It was the cleanest possible way I could ever include divine into something kids are coming to see. But people don't always realize what goes into making one, how big they are, how heavy they are, and actually how hard they are to come by, and actually how expensive they are. They're really expensive. I have done live carvings now at Sinister Creature Con out in Sacramento. I actually just got back yesterday. It was a whirlwind weekend. But it was great. It was so fun. I carved a witch on a big giant, huge ass pumpkin in front of a live audience, painted and carved it over the course of 2 days. And I gave it afterwards to my uncle, who lives out there in Sacramento and is a teacher, an elementary school teacher. He's bringing it to his school to show to his students, and then they're all collectively going to throw it off the roof of the building. People always ask, what do you do with these when you're done with them? What happens? And well, they rot. They go in the garbage. They go in the compost. Working for the zoo, they end up in the same pile as the camel shit. And it's like, you put so much time and energy into these, and they're just gonna rot. And I think there's a beauty in that. I think it's something that a lot of artists struggle with. I have struggled for most of my artistic career with the idea of letting my art go, or not being able to keep it or have it. When he told me he wanted to take my Sinister Creature Con pumpkin to school, I was like, please throw it off the building once it starts rotting, and please make sure you film it. I need to see that. But there's so much beauty in that. We talk about the mandalas specifically, and think about the things that are carried away with that sand in the wind. That energy and those vibes are all imbued in that sand in each grain. And as they blow across the land, it's, there's magic and a similar feeling with pumpkins. And, I like to think about the seeds inside of them being released back into the earth. It's romantic, it's spooky, and it's macabre in a certain kind of way. But it's also so childish, carving pumpkins is a thing kids do in America. It's just, there's so much beauty in that. I just love it. The main overshadowing thing is the only thing ever in your way is you. We can talk all the time about mental health. We can talk about access and affordability. We can talk about not having the space to create what, gigantic things you might want to create. Or maybe you can't afford a $150 pumpkin to practice on. That's okay. There's so much that you can do. Let the medium tell you what it wants to become. Let the canvas speak. There's so many times we as artists go into something with an idea and we're so stubborn. We don't want to break away from that. Or we use excuses, especially if you went to art school. You learn all these excuses. You learn that, I can't make something because it's not going to be a masterpiece, or I can't make something because I don't have an acid bath and a freaking hot plate. Like, you don't need those things. Like, stop it. I use that excuse honestly for years, finding reasons to not make. How am I supposed to create something if I'm so upset that I had to work today? whatever the excuse is. How am I supposed to make some? We don't even have a dining room table for me to sit at. Like, that doesn't matter. If you want it, you'll do it.